everyone. Today I am going to be teaching you guys how to use your resistant bands while working out at home. There's one thing that a lot of people don't understand about resistant bands is, first of all, you've got a lot of different tensions. Each of these are a different tension. And a lot of things you have to consider, like the position of your body will change the muscle group being worked. It's called lever points, the distance of your arms, things like that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to teach you how to effectively work out from home using resistant bands. So let's get this workout started. Okay, so the first muscle group I'm going to focus on is the biceps. And just so you guys know, I have my daughter Leilani helping me record this today so we can get some of the angles. So if I'm talking to somebody and kind of trying to get her to show the angle, then you know what's going on here. So, okay, so biceps. Very, very basic one first. Pretty simple. And with the biceps, at least for most people, they tend to be a little bit stronger than the triceps. So you can kind of use a medium grade tension, something a little heavier. I've got pretty strong biceps here. So what you're gonna do first is your basic bicep curl. So you're gonna use your legs as your leverage point. I'm gonna use that there. So I'm gonna check my tension. And because I want my tension to start right away at the bottom, I'm gonna get a nice width here so that almost immediately I can feel that tension. Okay, so you're gonna stand, you're gonna roll your shoulders back, tuck your belly in. This is not just a bicep exercise, this is everything. And then you're gonna curl, and you're gonna release. So try and get a nice tension. If about halfway through you lose that tension and these ropes get slack, then you wanna go ahead and either tighten them up under your feet or grab a different resistant band. So you wanna curl them up and release. So one thing you wanna do with any bicep curl is try not to activate the whole body and start doing this. That's not your biceps. You're just gonna curl and release, okay? So that's your typical straight up bicep curl. So what you can do from there is you can turn them to do what's called an external bicep curl, okay? So what this does is it changes a little bit of the bicep tissue that you're using, and it'll also change up the deltoid, the top of the shoulder, as to what part of the deltoid is assisting with this movement. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn your palms out, put your elbows into your side, and from here, you're gonna curl out like this. Now you wanna stabilize those biceps. Curl in, curl out, okay? And so we're using a little bit more of an external application or external part of your biceps, okay? Okay, so let's change it up. We've done the front tissue part of the bicep as well as the little forearm. We've done external, let's do internal. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this I've still got the same stance. Now, here's the thing about these internal ones. I find I can use a little bit more tension, but everybody's different. So you can either cross these if you want or keep them where it's at. Okay, so from here, turn your palms in, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoop and curl, okay? Keeping that tension in, scoop and curl. And if you can see, getting quite a bicep pump already, right? So you're gonna nice curl. Now you wanna control this, you're trying not to turn in, body is tight, and look at that bicep. We're gonna see it curl, same thing, I'm changing sides, locking it in, and curling up, and getting a nice bicep action. Okay, so those are your internal curls. So I love doing these with clients because they're going to allow them to really access all parts of their bicep. Okay, so let's move on to the tricep. Now the tricep is a little bit weaker of a muscle in general. It's a longer muscle, and if you want nice size arms, do not always focus on your bicep. More than half of your arm is tricep muscle, so you've got to work them both. Hang to get older. You're gonna work on these. So I'll show you also 3 exercises for the tricep muscle. So we've got typically a single arm kickback. So if you've been in the gym before and you grab a dumbbell, you'd be sitting in this position, kicking that muscle back. So what I'm gonna do is, because I can't use gravity as my lever point as you would in the gym with a dumbbell, I'm gonna use both my arms, okay? So here's my arm in action. My other arm's gonna come up. I'm gonna get my core tight and supported. And this is gonna be your lever pull, okay? What's cool about this is the other arm from a straight up position locking in, the back of that tricep is going to activate as well. So here we're gonna do is we're gonna push back and release. push back. Now, the goal is to see the back of that tricep there activate as you push through. Okay, and remember, so I start to get kind of tight in the shoulder, so sometimes I'll pause, roll my shoulders back, and push through, just trying to get all hunchy in that one. And you would switch and do the same thing on the other side, okay? Okay, so that's one tricep exercise. I wanna show you a single arm over body extension. And I love these because what they're gonna do is they're really gonna elongate the tricep. The tricep is a very long muscle extending all the way through, connecting to the back of the arm, okay? So if you want to work the entire tricep, you're gonna have to be aware of that. So here I am. I've got the resistance band tucked over my left foot, and I'm gonna work my right tricep. I'm gonna grab this band, pull it over my body. Now my resistance is coming from down here. You see that lever point? And so from here, I'm gonna press up, activating that tricep. Press up. Now watch your wrists. Keep them strong and supported. If you've got weak wrists, you've got to focus on keeping them tight, okay? So now we're gonna see how long and tight we can get that tricep. That is gonna help build that tricep muscle, okay? Third one I'm gonna show you is basically overhead dual triceps. So this is something you've also probably done in a gym with some dumbbells. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab from behind, and I've got the resistant bands towards my heels because I'm trying to get that band behind me. I'm gonna lock them up together, elbows close, not out there. Tricep extensions, you wanna keep them in and close and controlled. And I'm gonna extend. And then I'm gonna extend, just like that. Now your goal is for your peripheral vision to see those elbows right there. If you can't see them, they're not in the right spot. Keep them up close, right by your ears, and extend. And extend. There you go. So there's 3 awesome exercises for the triceps. Let's move on. Okay, so we're gonna go into the back, okay? So for the back, it's trickier because your lever point is gonna, all of your exercises for the back is either a rowing or fly. And so you've got to have a lever point that's away from you for that. So that's why chairs come in handy. But before I get to the chair, I'll just show you how to use your legs as a simple lever point for a row, okay? So again, I'm using slightly heavier tension for this. Getting to that wide position. Now, because my back is quite a bit stronger, I've got a lot of muscles helping in this, I tend to cross this. Anytime you want to add resistance, because you're just, let's say I'm rowing and I'm like, it's not quite there. By crossing, we're gonna elongate, right, that lever point and add some resistance. From here, core tight, lean over, and you can row. Now, if I'm in this row and I've got to see how much slack I have, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step that in and I bring that resistance in. Now, it's kind of fun sometimes getting it there. That's better, because right away I was like, I have too much slack on this. Simply doing rows. Now the benefit to doing rows often is we have a lot of sitting that we do, especially right now. So what happens when we sit is we get this posture thing going on. These muscles get long and weak, and these get tight. So what we've got to do is we've got to work on doing rowing so we can correct our posture and really get that strong. So I'll show you how to use a chair, because this is where having a simple chair, try not to use the collapsible chairs. That's gonna be a little dangerous. Don't use that, use something nice and sturdy. A very, very sturdy chair here. So I'm gonna show you how to use a chair to pull through a few rows, okay? So in this case, I love this chair because I can use this backing to kind of work my resistance band. So I'm actually just gonna feed this through because it will stabilize it and keep it from flying up, okay? So here I am, I've got this here, all right? So I'm gonna place my foot on the chair. I'm gonna cross the band. I'm gonna lean my weight a little bit forward so that the chair doesn't lift. It's gonna try and lift. And then I'm gonna simply row. So you can go from high to row, mid row, or low row. However, personally, I'm using a chair. I mean, you've got to get quite a distance to get a nice position. So what I prefer to do is I love to, with the row or a pressing motion, is to sit on the floor. So I'm going to show you this now. And so you're going to have to be aware of your positioning when you're sitting. So if I go to sit, okay, I'm gonna put one foot up on the chair midway, maybe lock my other one in here. So now I've got a base keeping this chair from turning, and I've got my foot up high to keep the chair from tipping. Here I go, crossing the bands because I know I'm gonna need the resistance. And then we can do low row. Right away, so much better resistance. Gotta pull, and during this time, work your core while you're at it, okay? So that's low row is gonna allow you to work more mid-back, okay, mid to low. If I pull my elbows out, I've got more working higher in the back. And if I wanna get nice and high, these are these postural muscles, I'm gonna lift and pull. Sometimes this is also called high row or face pull, because you're gonna have those bands really close to where your head is. But you gotta watch this chair, because as I'm doing this, my chair is like, I can't handle the resistance. So it's tricky, but it can be done. If you need, you can put something heavy on the chair, have your child sit on it maybe, I don't know. Have something heavy in the chair to help stabilize it if you need to do it. Okay, so those are some back exercises. I want to stand up for a second before we move on to the chest. So fly, okay, chest, or let's say reverse fly, we'll get to the chest fly. This is gonna allow your shoulder blades to come together. Also important for correcting your posture. So I'll show you from the front. So I'm not even gonna grab the grips, because what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna try arms straight and pull. And that action right there is gonna take my shoulder blades, and a muscle is gonna pull those shoulder blades together, okay? So I'll show you what this looks like. Let me try and do it from here. So pull, and then activate those shoulder blades and get them to actively pull together. You should feel that after a few reps start to burn between your shoulder blades, okay? Oh, that's so good. That burns really, really bad. Okay, so let's talk about the chest. The hardest one to do with resistant bands, because your lever point needs to come from behind you, or that resistant point that we pull you from. Again, chair, this is where chair comes in handy for this one. So, simple as this. I'm gonna grab this resistant band. I'm gonna put it right back through where I was before. I'm gonna stick with the red because I find this is a good tension for me when I'm working my chest muscles, okay? So I'm gonna sit that band there. There we go. I'm gonna sit right here. I'm gonna sit towards the end, but not too far forward, because your resistance, depending how strong you are, is gonna pull that chair up, okay? So, simple as this. I'm gonna grab this band, and I'm gonna press. Now, it's tricky, even there, get a little bit of lax on that tension, but that's okay, because I'm gonna show you an alternative. But as I'm pushing, your goal is to try and push your arms in and together. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna activate that upper chest muscle, which is again part of those tight postural muscles, okay? Another option is to fly this, okay? You're gonna open up the arms, nice and wide, palms facing each other. You're gonna come in and fly this. And you're gonna see those chest muscles and the really front part of your deltoid activating, crunching forward, okay? So that is good, but it's okay. I feel like I could use more resistance. So what you're gonna do is, if you're in that scenario and you're like, I think I could use more resistance, go lower, okay? So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna sit down to the ground, and I'm gonna use that chair, and if you need more resistance, put something heavy on the chair. Okay, so now I have to change my grip though, okay? So I'm gonna push this from here, I'm gonna stabilize the chair's up behind me, and then from here, I'm gonna press out. Pressing out. Okay, so now I've got quite a bit more resistance by just changing my direction that I'm pushing this through. Remember that fly that we did? Flying. My chair is working against me. It's trying to slide. It's trying to slide. But I've got a nice resistance. In all honesty, I could probably go heavier resistance band, but I'll just show this for you today. Now, I've worked the lower, mid-range, upper end of my chest region. So what I'm gonna do is I'm now gonna press down to the ground. And by doing this, we're gonna work those muscles that are responsible for a nice lift in your chest region. Guys and girls alike. I'm gonna push through. When I'm pushing through, I'm trying to lock my arms under and below me. Hold for a second and release. Push through. Nice activation. I'm actually burning. It doesn't take a lot. If you're using the right resistance and you get the right tension, it doesn't take a lot. So I'm gonna show you a couple more exercises just for some core, some leg work, and then we'll be done. Okay, so come on up. All right, my camera lady is doing a fine job here. Okay, so for the obliques, I'm gonna grab something a little bit lighter of a tension maybe. You know what, I'm just gonna go with my black. So I'm kind of a light or heavy person. It's one way or the other, and I rarely work in the middle. So this is kind of a medium tension. Kind of matching me now, I'm all in black, right? So I'm mourning the gym. I'm all in black. Okay, so with here, what I want to try and do is you want to get as much resistance on the side as possible. So I'm bringing this resistance band in and just get a little bit, there we go. Okay, so already I feel this tension. So all I'm going to do from here, this is oblique. I'm going to drop one side as I'm actively trying to use my oblique to crunch this side and lift the other. Crunch. While I'm just sliding down the leg, I'm actually actively using that oblique muscle to lift the opposite side, okay? If you have tight hips, you're generally tight in the hips, this is an exercise that you should do anyways. That is awesome. Okay, next one's a little trickier. Have you seen those machines? You get, you're at the gym, you're using the cable, and you've seen people grab the rope and they'll hover behind them and they'll crunch and pull. We can kind of mimic that here. But this is a very active core exercise. What I mean by that is you have to actively focus on the muscle you're trying to use, otherwise you won't get anything from this. You have to isolate the core and make the core do that action. So what you're gonna do, get back over and step on that. I'm gonna bring these cables and cross them behind, up. Gotta bring these rip too, so they're crossed behind me. I'm gonna come, I'm gonna lock them over my shoulders. Here we go. And from here, this is gonna look familiar. So I've got them here. And as I'm locked and crunched, let's see if I can do it. There we go, it's locked into my shoulder blades. I'm gonna crunch down, and then I'm gonna release. Now the key is to activate that core. I'm crunching and releasing. This is not I'm bending over and activating my back. Crunch that core and release. Crunch that core and release. One way I like to do it is do active breathing. Breathe out and breathe in. That will activate it. So that is awesome. That actually is very, very intense if it's done right. Okay, last of all, a couple leg exercises. See, I don't use resistor bands much for legs because there's so many things you can do your own body weight with. But in this case, if I was gonna use these for my legs, I'm gonna do squats, show you how to work out with lunges and abductor lifts, and we're done, okay? So we've got squats, so simple as this. We're gonna grab this resistance, and I need to make sure I've got enough that my legs will feel this. So I'm gonna get wide. Now think of your squat stance. I'm getting wide, toes slightly pointed out, checking my tension. I'm locking these up, there we go. Okay, this is tight. There's a lot of tension, but I'm locking my elbows. From here then, I'm going into my squat. Keep your butt, this is probably like this is inappropriate, so watch the angle. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stick my glutes out. I'm trying to keep my knees behind my toes and the weight back. So as I'm sitting back, weight is back, my glutes are activated, and as I'm coming up, I'm squeezing them. I'm coming down, squeezing the glutes. So both my quad and my glutes are working a lot to pull through this extra resistance. One more. Pushing through, okay? And lunges. So one thing I like to do with the lunge to get a nice tension is I'm gonna take this loop, do you see that there on the floor? Is I'm gonna loop, put my foot through that loop, but you've gotta make sure you've got grip. If you don't have any grip on those shoes, you'll slide when you do this. You'll come right up. So get in that lunge position, stand tall. My back leg, my heel is up, and I've got this. I'm gonna anchor this just like I did before. Lunge down and press up. Lunge down and press up. Both of my legs are actively working with this tension. Oh, that's good. That's lots of good tension. So if you're doing lunges and you're like, you know, they don't really do it for me anymore, add some resistance to it. Now, by having the tension underneath my ankle, underneath my heel, I am activating my quad, my front quad like crazy because of the angle of my foot. Whew, that's awesome. Okay, last one, abductor lifts, because you know, we all gotta get a little bit of hip going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my foot into my band. I can do that without falling. Okay, I'm gonna sit like this. I'm just gonna find the right tension. I'm gonna stand on the band. So you wanna actively be able to lift the leg and get some nice movement. If you go too tight, you're not gonna get anywhere. So I'm gonna play with this tension for a little bit. I'm gonna lift, lift. Now this is fun because you're gonna also have to work on your balance and your core. That is an awesome workout for the abductors. You can switch sides. So, as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do with resistant bands at home. Total body, like tell my clients no excuses. You can make this work. So I hope that you'll give this opportunity or give this workout a try. And let me know in your comment, make some comments, post any questions you have for me, or as well as any ideas or workouts you'd like to see. I'd be more than happy to help. Take care, everyone, and have a good day. Bye.